Alright everybody, my name is Bouback and I'm with Power Combat Fitness, and today we are going to talk about fixing lower back issues. A lot of times when we talk about people with issues with lower back, you always hear the term, well, you need to strengthen your core. The core doesn't just mean your abdominals. Your core is everything also in your posterior chain. So your butt, your hips, and your glutes, your hamstrings, so all of those things. And I've recently come across a really cool book called Core Foundations that was written by our good friends Dr. Eric Goodman and Peter Park. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over 5 transitional moves, and when I go through the sequence of moves, just keep in mind that in order for this to be effective in fixing some of your lower back issues, that you must do this 3 times in a row for the sequence. So again, it's 5 moves. You're going to be about 30 to 45 seconds for each move, and you need to do it 3 times through. So after I go through it, I'm only going to go through it once, but I want you to go through it an additional two times. And you need to do this about 3 times a week. If you have serious lower back issues, it takes a couple weeks for it to really get activated and help you out with some of your issues. So let me go over the first one. The first one's called the founder. And the founder, the principle here is that we want to stand with our feet shoulder distance apart. Our toes, we don't want them pronated, okay? So we want to keep them straight forward, and we want to dig our heels in. So I'm going to give you a side view here. So we want to put all our weight to the back of our heels, okay? So our first pose that we're going to hold it for about 15 seconds. And when I do this, I'm going to flex my lower back, and I'm going to stick out my chest. My head stays straight and my arms come back. And I'm tightening everything in my posterior chain. Now, you can hold this pose. You don't have to have your knees bent as much as I do, especially when you're first starting out with this. Bring your knees up a little bit, but you should feel a little bit of tension on your lower back. Okay? Head stands straight. So the next thing that we're going to do from this position, we're going to bring our hands straight up in the air. And this might be a little bit uncomfortable for some of you, especially if you're doing it for the first time. And we're going to hold this pose for about 10 more seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then I'm going to bring my hands down to my shins, readjust my chest, make sure that my chest is going out. You will feel this on your lower back. If you're not feeling it on your lower back, dig your heels in a little bit harder and make sure that you're flexing those lower back muscles. And then I'm going to come down, and I'm going to reach down, keeping my knees bent still, and I'm going to come down and take 2 deep breaths. And I'm going to come back up in the pose again, where I was just at. Hands go back, chest out, head looking straight forward. Hold this for 10 seconds. You might feel a little shaky at first when you do this, and that's okay. And it might be a little bit painful for those of you that struggle with lower back issues, but this is about strengthening the posterior chain. We're going to come back up again and hold this for 10 more seconds. Hands down, bring it up, stand straight up. Okay, now we're going to go on the ground and we'll work on our back extensions. So we're going to do 15 back extensions here. But it's very important that you do this movement correctly. When we come up, we don't want to have a jerking motion. We want it to be smooth. We want to flex the spine when we do this, and that's going to be part of the strengthening process. So start on the ground, chest on the ground. I like to start with my hands above my head first, okay? Releasing some tension in the spine. My feet are shoulder distance apart. I'm going to bring my elbows to the mid-back Hands come off the floor. Neck is aligned with my spine. And I'm going to raise my trunk 15 times. 2. Remember, we're not jerking. Try to keep your hands above the ground. Don't put them back on the ground. We don't want to jerk up like that. We want to go nice and smooth. Halfway done. There's 10. And try not to look up when you do this. Keep the spine in line. Over time, you'll get more height as your back becomes stronger. And that's done. Okay. The next one we're going to do, this is the adductor assisted lower back extension. Okay. We're going to lock our legs together so that our inner thighs are touching, and when we come up in our back extension, we're going to press our adductors together so that we squeeze that lower part of the back. I'm going to start down here, bring the arms up again, legs come up about 6 inches off the ground, squeezing your inner thighs together and raise up, and you're going to hold this for 15 seconds. Don't bow the neck, keep it aligned with the spine. You should feel a lot of tension on your lower back here. We got about 5 more seconds. Work on getting some additional height, keeping those adductors squeezed, and releasing down. Okay, the next move that we're going to do, we're going to come from this position, okay, and we're going to come up on all fours. And I like to call this a cat stretch. Try not to bow the back too much. And from this position, we're going to go right into a downward dog. And we're going to hold this for about 15 seconds. Control your breathing when you're down here. Neck is aligned with the spine. And from this position, we're going to come up and we're going to do, we did a standing founder before. This one's called a kneeling founder. So we're coming up here slightly, bringing the arms back, chest out again. Tension should be in the lower spine. We're going to hold this for 10 seconds. And remember, don't look down. And definitely don't look up. Look straight ahead. Arms back. Here we come. Stay in the same position, just raising your hands. We're going to be here another 10 seconds. And then we're going to go into our final move. Good. Hands back up. Okay, now we're going to go to our feet. Okay, we're just going to do a basic lunge extension. Okay, so you're going to get in a lunge position, slightly bent on your front leg. We're going to start here. Dig that heel in the back of the ground. Slight extension. You can get out a little bit farther here. Flex the lower spine. Arms facing back. We're going to hold this position. Once you get comfortable, and you feel very stable here, arms come up. Here we go. We're holding this one for 10 seconds. And like I said before, if you're not feeling this, if you're not feeling any tension in the lower back, you may want to take a look and adjust. Here, my heel started coming off the ground. I'm going to readjust. Digging it in the ground a little bit farther and bringing the arms down, and I'm going to switch legs. Same position. We don't want to go too deep here. Slight bend in the leg, heel to the ground. Should feel tension all the way from the calf up to the back muscles here. Chest out. Once you feel stable here, arms come up. And we're going to hold this one for 10 to 15 seconds. Bringing the arms down, come back up. Okay, so that's 5 moves. Okay, so I want you to go back through that. Do that 2 more times. This should take you 15 to 20 minutes. You need to do it 3 times a week. After the 2 weeks are done, I'll have a video uploaded next weekend so you can start on phase 2. Thanks, everybody.